Hello and welcome to the Sustain project. In this video, we'll be looking at how to view historical climate data from the gridMET dataset in Aperture. gridMET is a dataset of climate observations that have been recorded from 1979 to 2020, and they are collected at regularly spaced grid intervals across the United States. We can view this data aggregated at any time period and any census tract that we want, so let's take a look at how to do that. First, let's go up to the menu here, then search for historical climate in the Explore Datasets box. Let's check this so that it appears in our workspace, and then enable it so that it appears on the map. And what we now see is that all of the tracks, the census tracks on our map have lit up, and we are able to click on any one of these in order to view the climate variables that are associated with it. So what we are looking at here is all the available variables in the dataset, as well as their value over here on this column. Their value being an average of all of the observations that have fallen within that tract, as well as the time period that we have selected. We can change the time period that we have selected by going over to our map, expanding the historical, or a menu, expanding the historical climate box here, and then changing these dates using the date selectors here. So for instance, I can change the year. Maybe I only want to aggregate up through 2010, select that, and it will grab us new data, which is aggregated over a different time period. Now you'll notice that in some more densely populated areas where census tracts are a bit smaller and closer together, that we have quite a few tracts that are missing. This is simply a result of the gridded nature of the dataset. As I mentioned, the observations in the gridMET dataset are only collected over a specific grid, so evenly spaced intervals across the United States. You can sort of see that grid appearing here. And basically what this means is if a tract is not over a particular grid point in the dataset, then it simply won't have observations, which is what we're seeing in places here like Denver, Boulder, Longmont, places where census tracts are small. It's possible for them to be skipped by the grid, essentially. Coming very soon in Aperture, we will have the ability to view this data aggregated at a county level rather than a tract level, which will hopefully have much fewer, if any at all, gaps, because the counties will be much larger. But at the moment, I can click on any one of these tracks to view the variables associated with it, and I can also, if I want to get a better sense of the distribution of some of these variables, like for instance precipitation, I can click this arrow on the right here and select it as my current color field, and now I'm seeing all the tracks colored based on their precipitation. So if I scroll down a little bit, we can see the scale that that's being applied on. So more red tracks have less precipitation, the yellow ones have about in the middle, and the blue ones will have the most precipitation. And this is a range over the ranges that are, or over the values that are available in the whole data set. So these are the min and max, basically, in the entire data set that we're seeing. And also, like any other variable in Aperture, we can use this menu here to select some constraints in order to filter out tracks that we're not interested in. So let's say that on top of coloring precipitation, I just want to see tracks where precipitation is relatively high, so I can move this slider here to say that I only want to see tracks where the precipitation is between 2 and 6 millimeters. And you'll see that a lot of tracks have disappeared, and the only ones that are left are ones where that condition is true. So you can see this one has greater than 2 millimeters. This one is as well greater than 2 millimeters. And I can also combine that with any number of other restrictions. So I can move any of these sliders to create any number of different possible combinations for constraints. Let's undo all of them so that we see all of the data again. And that will conclude our look at how to see the historical data from the gridMET dataset in Aperture. Thanks for watching.